For activists battling daily against the abuse of anti-Semitism to stifle free speech on Israel-Palestine, on university campuses and in Jewish religious and communal bodies of all kinds, it may seem something of a luxury to dwell on the reasons why contemporary understanding of anti-Semitism has become so politicized, bitterly contested, and controversial. But if we don't take time out to examine this question, the crucial task of devising effective means of fighting the serious anti-Semitism that continues to exist is made much harder, and the development of sound arguments to undermine the highly influential efforts to brand any comment about Jews and Israel as anti-Semitic is greatly weakened. For those of us who have been studying and combating anti-Semitism for decades, it's hard to believe that anyone born since the end of the Cold War hasn't known a time when Israel was not at the center of discussions about the state of current anti-Semitism. Today, it's self-evident that practically no discussion about current anti-Semitism takes place without Israel and Zionism at its center. And judging by the vast number of books, pamphlets, articles, and conferences on the subject of Israel and Zionism, as the principal targets of anti-Semitic discourse and action, this trend is widely welcomed. When I first started monitoring and studying contemporary anti-Semitism close to 40 years ago, there was, broadly speaking, a shared understanding of what anti-Semitism was, and Israel was hardly ever mentioned. True, historians differ over a precise definition, quite understandably, given that the term was coined only in the 1870s and was then used to describe varieties of Jew hatred, going back 2,000 years. But I would argue that, in practice, during the first 3 or 4 decades after the Second World War, anti-Semitism was commonly linked to the classical stereotypical images of the Jew, forged in Christendom, adopted and adapted by anti-Semitic political groups in the 19th century, and further developed by race theorists and the Nazis in the 20th century. That process of reformulation and revision did not end with the Holocaust. The most significant development in anti-Semitism after 1945 was the rapid emergence of Holocaust denial. Interestingly, while it seems some began to refer to this as new anti-Semitism, no attempt was made to produce a fundamentally new definition of anti-Semitism to encompass it. Researchers and academics analyzing and writing about the phenomenon had no difficulty in seeing it as essentially a new manifestation of a consensually defined, multifaceted anti-Semitism.